Every year in college football, one of the most talked about things is college football recruiting. And people always make their predictions about who's going to be a breakout freshman, who's going to be immediate impacts, and who are some names to watch as true freshmen or redshirt freshmen in college football for a said season upcoming. I've done that before, but in today's video, I want to take a look at people who are just true freshmen in the 2023 college football season that I believe will take year 2 leaps as sophomores in 2024. Before I move on, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. The first player that I'm going to be talking about in today's video is Kansas State quarterback Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson played in a total of 8 games for the Wildcats in 2023, primarily as a backup quarterback, but he did make his first career start versus NC State in a bowl game, the Pop-Tart Bowl. For the 2023 campaign, Avery Johnson completed 56% of his passes, throwing for 479 yards, 5 touchdowns to the air, compared to 0 interceptions, while being very highly efficient on the ground, rushing for a total of 296 yards, averaging nearly 6 yards a carry, and having a total of 7 rushing touchdowns. Now, when talking about his first career start that was versus NC State in the Pop-Tart Bowl, he showed a lot of promise as he had 2 touchdowns to the air, had 71 rushing yards, and even a touchdown on the ground. Going into 2024, Avery Johnson's going to be the starting quarterback for Kansas State, and I think he's a very promising quarterback. It's going to have a lot of success in 2024 as he can make plays in the air, and he is a dynamic runner on the ground. Staying with the quarterback position for this next player, I'm going to be talking about someone I believe is pretty underrated, and that's Arkansas State quarterback Jaylen Raynor. Jaylen Raynor appeared in 11 games for Arkansas State, where he completed 58% of his passes, thrown for 2,550 yards, 17 touchdowns to the air compared to only 7 interceptions, while also being an efficient runner, having 373 yards on the ground and 5 total rushing touchdowns. It's also worth noting he did not become the starting quarterback until Week 4 versus Southern Mississippi, in which they won their first game in his first career start to improve to a 2-2 record. To finish the regular season off as a full season starter, Arkansas State finished the year 5-4 before ultimately finishing 6-7 on the season to have a starting record of 5-5. Which, if you looked at Arkansas State those first couple games of the season, it was not the best team ever. They even lost to Oklahoma 73-0 in a Week 1 game and 37-3 in a Week 2 game versus Memphis. It seems like Jaylen Raynor really brought life back to that team in 2023, and it seems like he's just getting started down in Arkansas State. Moving on to the next player, I'm going to be talking about CJ Baxter, running back at Texas. In his true freshman campaign in 2023 for the Longhorns, he appeared in 13 games, in which he rushed for 659 yards, averaging nearly 5 yards a carry, had 5 touchdowns on the ground, while also being an option in the pass game with 24 receptions for 156 total receiving yards. CJ Baxter at the end of the season got a chance to show what he could be as a potential starting running back when Jonathan Brooks went down with a season-ending injury, and Jonathan Brooks officially going to the NFL draft means there's going to be a competition at the running back position between CJ Baxter and others amongst that Texas Longhorn backfield. And I believe right now that CJ Baxter has the highest chance to win that job. Of course, it's going to be easier said than done, especially from my idea, as I believe that room can be very competitive for that RB1 spot, and I believe they'll play multiple running backs throughout the year next year. However, I believe CJ Baxter has all the potential in the world to take that next step next year to be that lead guy and have a really good year 2 of his college football career. Staying on the offensive side of the ball for this next player, I'm going to be talking about one of the best pure athletes in the class of 2023 and be talking about wide receiver at Nebraska, Malachi Coleman. Malachi Coleman started in 6 of the 11 games he appeared in for the Cornhuskers in 2023, where he recorded 8 receptions for 139 yards, averaging 17 yards a reception and 1 touchdown through the air. While yes, that is not the most eye-popping stat for a receiver, especially one that started over half the season for his team, I do have to say that Nebraska did have a lot of quarterback issues throughout the year, playing quarterbacks such as Heinrich Harburg, Chuba Purdy, and Jeff Sims, which none of them really found their groove in the passing game. It really seems like the entirety of the 23 campaign. But not only that, I believe that Malachi Coleman has a lot of potential for this 2024 season to really be a breakout campaign for him. He has great size for a receiver, standing in at 6'4", 190 pounds, can jump out the gym, and may be just one of the fastest players from that 23 class. He has barn burner speed, and he's someone that can make big plays down the field. And it's going to be interesting to see how much his production really increases, seeing if the quarterback room or the starting quarterback position that is at Nebraska truly upgrades, whether it's going to be Dylan Raiola or others in that quarterback room, to see who actually wins that job when it is all said and done. However, I have been a big Malachi Coleman believer since he was in high school, and I believe 2024 can be a very big year for him and the Huskers. The final player that I'm going to be talking about in today's video is defensive lineman from Texas A&M, DJ Hicks. DJ Hicks was one of the most highly touted players in the class of 2023 and was a player that I was very high on if you've seen some of my videos on the class of that 2023 class, where I said I thought he could be an immediate impact in 2023. And while he may have not been as big of an impact as I may have believed he could have been, because that A&M defensive line room was very stacked to say the least, he still had a good season as a freshman, especially one that was more of a rotation player, as he had 13 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 sack on the season. He made his first career start versus Oklahoma State in the Texas Bowl, where he played a good game and was very pivotal for the Aggies on that defensive line that was very dwindled at that point of the season. We had 2 total tackles, but he created a lot of pressure on Alan Bowman, and for all intents and purposes, he was very key in, I would say, curtailing Doak Walker Award winner Ollie Gordon for the most part of that game. He still had a good amount of yards, but he only did average about 4 yards a carry, which most of the game he was getting stuffed for the most part. With Texas A&M officially going into a new era with a new coach, they did lose a lot of players to the transfer portal, especially on that defensive lineman position, and that's going to be a big opportunity for DJ Hicks to become a full-time starter and to become that big-time anchor on that defensive line for the Texas A&M Aggies, not only for 2024 but years to come. And I'm expecting a big season from DJ Hicks if he does stay healthy. Well, guys, if you made this far in today's video, drop something down in the comment section below. What videos you want to see in the future, and who do you believe are some freshmen from the 23 season that are bound to have year 2 leaps in 2024. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.